Welcome back to Touchline Talk by Soccerspective, where we break down soccer leadership, tactics, and trends to help coaches at every level think differently about the game. I'm your host, Brandon Faust, and today we're diving into one of the biggest developments in U.S. soccer in years, U.S. soccer's new NextGen college soccer white paper, which was released in October of 2025. This document lays out a roadmap to propose how to modernize college soccer for both men's and women's programs. And if you coach, recruit, or develop players in the United States, this could rock your world, change your world. You might be excited about it. You might be frustrated about it. Or perhaps you're an aspiring college player or a parent of a player. This news and potential implementation of this news is relevant to you. So college soccer has been a cornerstone of player development in this country, producing generations of players, coaches, and referees who've shaped every level of the game. Now, I understand the landscape of soccer in the United States is very different than around the world. You know, there's not the promotion relegation, how players are signed into academies from the youth level. We have different, we have different episodes that point to conversations around this, but just to take this for what it is, college soccer has been the way, a primary way for players that play high-level club to take that next step and then maybe to get into the professional ranks. It is different than Europe. It is different than other places around the world, but it is a thing. And so the landscape is shifting fast with the realities of name, image, and likeness. Permissions opened up over the last couple of years, with conference realignment that's often directed by maybe, some of those more primary earning sports like a football or a basketball program. And then there's rapid growths of various pro leagues. College soccer is under the pressure to evolve. And so this is this initiative that was instigated by U.S. Soccer. They're saying that it isn't about rewriting college soccer. They claim that it's about trying to renew it. And as U.S. Soccer CEO JT Batson said, the goal is simple: keep what's great, improve what's not, and make sure the system works for today's student athletes and tomorrow's game. So kind of what's proposed as the core goals of this. Again, I'm not saying I agree with all of this or disagree with all of this in this segment here. But just to kind of give you an update on what was being said in this white paper, the Next Gen College Soccer Committee, made up of leaders from college athletics, pro leagues, and U.S. soccer, focused on three major outcomes. They want to enhance the student athlete well-being, so fewer games jammed into tight windows, less travel, more recovery time. They want to strengthen financial sustainability, reduce operating costs and new commercial opportunities. And they want to improve player development, aligning college soccer with professional and national team pathways. Once you get into kind of the college soccer system, it's its own ecosystem. And that's often been the challenge with everything in the youth soccer setup, the college soccer pro setup, or college soccer setup, and the pro setup here in America is none of it's really congruent, aligned, makes sense. So they're saying that they're trying to make a healthier experience for college soccer that's smarter and more connected to the broader U.S. soccer ecosystem. The men's game, a new structure. Let's start with the men's side because that's where a lot of the bigger shakeups are being proposed to happen. Again, these are what's being proposed. And the headline change would be a move to a full academic year season running from August through May, instead of the current 3-month sprint that is a fall season. Now, I understand there's a lot of, friendlies and scrimmages and things that can happen in the spring, and training still is happening up and down throughout the season, and there's parameters around that. But they would be proposing moving from that, August to October fall season to an August through May type of season. And here's the breakdown. Division I men's program, so talking about NCAA Division I, would be organized into 4 geographic clusters, each with around 50 teams. Within those clusters, teams would be split into regional and local divisions, a 2-tier structure based on geography and performance. The season would be spread across both semesters with the winter break for academics and recovery. Then would come a 64-team national tournament proposed to occur in the month of May, giving college soccer a prime broadcast window before spring championships like baseball and lacrosse go into full swing. Financially, they claimed that this model could save programs each from $25,000 to $350,000 per year, mostly from reduced travel and fewer costs on that. But the competitive model adds another twist that can make this interesting, is a contained promotion relegation format within Division I soccer. Yes, you heard that right. The proposed model includes a somewhat closed model of promotion and relegation within NCAA Division I men's soccer. Here's how it could work. At the end of each season, team placement between the regional and local divisions would be reviewed. High-performing teams could move up. Struggling programs could move down. Now, this isn't a fully open pyramid system by any stretch like Europeans' professional leagues. It's more structured. It's guided by U.S. Soccer and the NCAA, but it introduces a level of accountability and mobility that we've never had in college soccer before. Promotion and relegation could be based on recent results, competitive consistency, and even resource considerations. For coaches, that means every match, matters, not just for the postseason and the playoffs, but for your program's tier status for next year. This would be a major shift in culture, one that rewards ambition, performance, and growth. And honestly, it could reignite rivalries, bring more energy to the college game. However, I think there's some things here around, do the rich just get richer? Do these smaller programs, get punished for some of these things? Who starts where, when? How does that begin? Do certain groups start in the more preferred top tier and others in the bottom tier? Would the bottom tier have a way to get into the same NCAA championship, or would there be like a second division, a consolation bracket? So there's still lots of questions on this. And I think the fear, in my opinion, is that the rich could get richer here. And you could have a small school perform really, really well, get moved into the top division. And then with the transfer rules, all these players transfer to a bigger program with NIL deals. And so now you have a smaller, team that's made it into the top division that now has no resources, no players, and have been poached. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's great for them to reconsider their model and reconsider its setup, but I think there's a lot of things to be worked out in this still. Secondly, the women's game. Now, this would be a more phased evolution. It wouldn't be quite as seismic of a shakeup. On the women's side, the approach is a little more gradual and intentional. Women's college soccer remains the premier development pathway globally, producing roughly 70% of U.S. women's national team players. Now, they don't always necessarily play all 4 years. They might play 1 year and go pro or whatever. But instead of an overhaul, the white paper recommends evolution, that the 2026 preseason would begin 2 weeks earlier. And so it would start in the month of July, easing congestion and reducing missed classes. And then in spring of 27, a suggestion of some sort of U23 regional spring competition to launch, bringing together elite college programs, reserve pro teams, youth national teams for high-level off-season play. It seems like it's an attempt to add developmental opportunities without disrupting what's already working. I think one of the things here, though, to consider is that a lot of times you might have these college players that they're training, in the spring or the summer with a pro team, an NWSL team, or a reserve team, or a USLW league. I wonder what it's going to do to that. You have youth national teams that a lot of times these college players are playing on as well. So it would be interesting to see which one gets priority, which ones the players align with. I think one of the things that we often hear, even from the times back when I was playing college soccer, PDL and different things like that were available on the men's side. And on the women's side now, there's this, USL, Super League, the W League, where they can play high level, be in a new environment, new teammates. So it'll be interesting to see what the shakeup would do to those kind of environments. Does it enhance it? Does it water it down? Does it actually remove opportunity? They're saying it's an attempt to add additional developmental opportunities. And long term, U.S. Soccer says they want to gather feedback and data before deciding whether to mirror the men's full year model to the women's game over time. So they would take a time to review what's going on the men's side, see if that would make sense for the women's side or not. Beyond structure and scheduling, this white paper calls for several modern updates. Eligibility modernization, which would allow players to train with or sign limited deals with pro clubs while maintaining eligibility. I think there's the purist with college soccer, even with realities of NIL, says, they're playing for the love of the game. They're playing for their school. This, now is turning into some sort of amateur, and a lot of college soccer has been that step right before pro. But it does change it. The opportunity for them to sign limited deals with pro clubs while maintaining eligibility and still playing there and being developed there. Interesting. Defined transfer windows, creating stability for rosters and academic schedules of when college players could transfer from one school to the next. And then talent ID and coaching alignment, integrating college programs into U.S. Soccer's development framework is an attempt here. Because college soccer is kind of its own animal right now. And then boosted visibility for better streaming, national broadcasts, social storytelling around the college game. So they're saying this isn't just about the calendar. It's about building a more professional, connected ecosystem for American soccer. And so what happens next? The white paper in this committee were just the start. U.S. Soccer, the NCAA, and conference leaders from those Division I conferences will now enter a phase of discussion and pilot testing with implementation targeted for the 26-27 academic year, which that seems pretty fast to me. But I think what they're trying to do is line some things up right after the boom and the excitement of the World Cup. And if done well, this could be, the most significant reform in college soccer's history. If done poorly, I think it could totally dismantle the infrastructure and the beauty of what does happen in college soccer. But what about NCAA Division II? What about NCAA Division III and the NAIA? These are questions I've been asked. How does this impact maybe a lower level soccer? Now, I will say lots of D2, D3, and NAIA teams can compete with D1 teams or lower D1 teams. So the white paper scope is officially focused on Division I only right now, but it does acknowledge that many of these recommendations that they are making could eventually benefit or impact or be adapted by these other branches of the NCAA or NAIA. Division II might adopt some of these ideas, especially regional scheduling and player well-being improvements, but they'll likely wait to see how the Division I pilot goes. Division III, which emphasizes academics as it has no athletic scholarships, probably won't change its overall season model, though it could borrow wellness and coaching development practices through that. And then the NAIA programs actually have the most flexibility. They already run regional schedules to a degree and could experiment with some of these modernization ideas sooner than the NCAA even might. There's a little bit more autonomy and flexibility and pliability there. So while Division II, Division III, and NAIA aren't part of the initial proposed reform, they're considered in the conversation. And a lot of times they think that, once the Division I men's side goes, then how is that going to impact the women's side at Division I? And then how is that going to trickle down maybe into D2, D3, and NAIA? College soccer has always been about opportunity for players in America to take that next step that might not have that professional aspiration or dream, but still have something to give to the game, want to be a part of a team, can still compete. It provides opportunity for those coming from outside of the United States to get an education, to get opportunities through athletic scholarships, to get that education. And so this modernization plan aims to it's saying that they're trying to protect that legacy while preparing for the future. I do have my reservations. I think that this just kind of flattens out the scene a bit. And until there's there's a lot of conversations around promotion, relegation, organization of the pipeline. How do we get these, the talent working in the same direction in the scope of U.S. soccer? But it does seem like until there's a domino where Major League Soccer, NWSL have like a structure of opportunity to rise up the ranks and a true actual pyramid of promotion, relegation, of different levels, different things like that, that some of this stuff might just be in vain, that you can organize and contain a promotion relegation sort of thing. Not saying that that's always the goal and the outcome of everybody, but it seems like they're trying to regionalize things. It seems like they're trying to localize things, and none of these systems are talking together. And what we see in Europe and in other places, and obviously there's, it's not just like always grass greener on the other side, but it's like, hey, 10 tiers of professional football and people being signed to youth contracts and those being developed, and then a transaction that if they sell that player on to a bigger club, and mobility up and down, and then those smaller divisions of English soccer, say it's more local, regionalized type matches and different things like that, or can be. If these structures and changes move forward, we could see a more competitive, sustainable, connected version of college soccer to the U.S. soccer landscape. But it just feels very hodgepodgey to me. It just feels like we're tinkering with a bunch of stuff in youth soccer. We're tinkering with stuff in college soccer. We're tinkering, USL has been courageous and said, we're going to push out promotion, relegation for, that second, third, fourth division of the men's side of the game. But, it's capped at that. It's capped at playing at that second tier, with MLS still holding the chips. So, it's going to be interesting. But I think regardless, whether you are a player, a parent of an aspiring college player, a high school coach, a college coach, a club coach, are involved in recruiting players or leading within the game, keep your eyes on this, because the future of college soccer is being looked at, is looking at being rewritten in so many different ways. And I would encourage you, if you have not checked it out yet, NextGen College Soccer White Paper is available at ussoccer.com/college soccer. That's ussoccer.com/college soccer, and they've made their findings available. Until next time, keep learning, keep leading, keep shaping the future of the game. Would love to hear your thoughts and your comments around what's going on in the landscape of college soccer, and if you think this is a positive or a negative thing. We'll see you next time on Touchline Talk.